Hey there, welcome to Say More, the podcast where we expand the conversation around what it means to be human. My name is Andy Spray, and as always, I'm here with my co-host, Emily Lawyer, licensed professional counselor. We are so glad you're here with us today. We're answering your questions, and while we're at it, creating a community where we can learn and grow together, how we can connect more to self in order to connect more with others and with God. And we're glad you're here.
Hi.
Hi. Emily, I have a little game for us today.
Fun.
Okay. Do you like games?
Of course.
Of course you do. I already know the answer to that. You don't know this game, though.
No.
So
Okay.
I hope you like this game.
Okay.
A little game for us. And I have titled it Binge or Cringe. Okay? Did you hear that? That's binge or cringe. It's the game we're playing today.
Love it.
And here's the game.
Okay.
What is, you have to tell me.
Okay.
And if you're a listener at home, you have to find a friend and tell them. This is something everyone has to do. Okay? What is a show, movie, or documentary
Okay.
that you've watched recently
Okay.
that you would recommend to me, your friend, that
Okay.
you would be proud to tell me about?
Okay.
You want to tell me what you're streaming. And then I want to know what's a show, movie, or documentary that you would be embarrassed to tell me that you've been watching.
That's the cringe.
It's binge or cringe, baby.
That's the cringe. Okay. And then I get to ask you too.
I suppose that's only fair.
All right. So this binge should be easy.
Okay.
Let me think here. Recently, let's go with, there's a show called No Good Deed
Oh,
that I just
Yeah.
blew through. I don't know, 8 or 9 episodes. It has Lisa Kudrow from Friends and Ray Romano.
interesting.
Sharp writing, sharp storytelling, a little bit of trauma thrown in.
All right, your specialty.
I thought it
No
was
Good Deed?
No Good Deed. I thought
Okay.
it was really, really good. I know you would love it.
Okay.
So I have zero hesitation.
You're
or
ready to share.
Zero reservation sharing that.
Well, I don't
with
even
you.
know, where is that?
I don't remember. I think it was on Netflix.
Do you want me to tell you my binge before you say your cringe?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay.
Okay.
So this is not necessarily a hot take, but I have been trying to get you to watch Severance.
Yes. I
Okay.
know.
Severance, if you were somebody who loved Lost,
Which I did.
which you did, and I also did, and if you knew me in real life during that time period, I had a party
Multiple.
for every season
Yes.
premiere and season finale.
Uh-huh.
And then we had a big party at the end. And then when Lost ended, my husband grieved in a way that I only hope he manages to muster up when I die. I swear the grief that man felt over the end, which I get it. We were, and there was some disappointment in the ending. But if you liked Lost and the sort of like the mystery and everything kind of means something, like I remember showing up at work the next day and be like, oh my gosh, and then the number was on the tree and whatever. So Severance is kind of like that.
Okay.
It's not quite as, I don't know. It's a little different. It's kind of a slow burn, but the end of season 1 is like some of the best, most exciting TV I've ever seen. So I recommend Severance. Season 2 is out now. Check out Severance. So that's I am proud to share and encourage.
Proud to share.
And I want to say for Severance, keep trying. If it seems slow at first, it's the payoff.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So now,
Okay.
the other
so
side.
now I want to know, I'm making you go first. What
cringe.
would you be ashamed?
So this is really the truth. I don't know that I've actually ever told you about this.
Oh
I
my
may
gosh.
have,
Okay.
but I don't know that I have. It's maybe within the last year, not super recent, but
What?
there. I always get the name wrong. First of all,
Okay.
I want to call it A Place in the Heart.
Oh, I
Which
already
is,
hate it.
Wait. I want to call it A Place in the Heart, but that is an Academy Award-winning movie with Sally Field and John Malkovich about a woman at the turn of the Depression caring for her family.
Okay, I'm not familiar with
Okay,
that.
that's not the show that I'm getting
Okay.
ready to confess to you. The show that I love is When Calls the Heart.
Oh,
It's a Hallmark show.
well, obviously, just based on the title alone, I could have told you
Hallmark
that.
show about a well-to-do young school marm.
Oh boy, you literally have never said this to me before. You are unveiling deep truths.
She moves to the Canadian frontier to teach in a one-room schoolhouse. It takes place at, I think, like the turn of the century.
Does she find love with some strapping lumberjack? Okay, yes.
She falls in love with the Canadian Mountie. Aunt Becky from Full House runs the cafe in town. Lori Loughlin.
Okay.
Now, I don't want to spoil it for anybody.
Okay.
There is a major plot twist that happens at the end of season 1 that I did not see coming. Really sucked me in and kept me going.
Okay.
So, but mine would be When Calls the Heart.
That shocks me. Knowing what I know about you, I am genuinely surprised that that's your answer.
It's a little bit Little House on the Prairie.
Because it's kind of cheesy, and you're not really cheesy.
It's not kind of cheesy.
Okay, it's totally cheesy.
It revels in its cheesiness.
Okay.
It makes it does not try to cover that up in any way.
Okay.
Yes.
But I don't feel like you watch a lot of other cheesy things.
No, I don't. That's why
this is an outlier.
This is why it's a cringe.
Okay.
And probably why I haven't told you about it.
But it speaks to your prairie girl heart. If you don't know, listeners, she's from the prairie. So I think this is why.
And was a school marm.
And you were a school marm. So
have yet to fall in love with a Canadian Mountie.
Well, there's still time. You don't know. Mine is not so much cheesy.
Okay.
It is, however, very trashy and shameful. It's not one I'm proud of, although I have watched now more than one season.
Okay.
In my defense.
We both said the same thing.
I know. Sorry. What, defending ourselves?
We're both feeling embarrassed right now, even as
I am feeling a little embarrassed. People's opinions of me are going to drop slightly. Or, I don't know, potentially rise, depending on the circles. However, in my defense, it was a long winter break.
Okay.
I was home with my children.
Okay.
Then we had a snowstorm, and we were home even longer. And I hit a moment where something popped in my brain, and I just needed to have something mindless, and that something that I chose was The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. Okay. I'm not a reality TV girly. I don't watch The Bachelor. I don't watch other reality TV series. Somebody said that was the best one. I started in season 4. They specifically said season 4.
I would love to know why it was the best one.
Well, it's very juicy.
How is there any differentiation from any other Real Housewives?
We'll have to do a deep dive on it. It was, I guess, similar. I haven't watched all of them, but it was really good. And with the shameful part comes in, because I definitely did not advertise it. And I certainly don't want my kids to know that I'm watching it. But the shameful part, because the worst part of those is the reunion specials.
Oh, with
Andy Cohen.
Andy Cohen, yeah.
Those are the most, because it's just them screaming and you did this and you called me. It's awful, right? The worst moment was when my husband walked in and caught me watching the reunion special. And I felt like I couldn't make eye contact with him. I was really embarrassed because there's really nothing redeemable about the reunion specials. But I also wanted to know.
You're right.
Let's talk about what happened in Punta Cana, okay? I think we can discuss that a little more. And my toxic trait is that I think I could be on The Real Housewives.
Oh, do tell.
But be nice.
You could bring change.
I could bring change
to the franchise.
I could go on luxury vacations and, go to your parties for your jewelry launch and, not rip anybody's hair out or flip a table. I probably wouldn't be very interesting to watch, but I think I could just go and just be a friend.
A lot of your story would end up on the cutting room floor.
I think so. I don't think I would have a lot of juice for the squeeze, but it is healing to share this out loud.
Yes.
I think it's not as bad as When Calls the Heart. Sorry, that's not fair. I don't know. Yours is certainly more wholesome.
Oh, if we could have chosen two shows more on the polar opposite.
I know.
Okay, what does this speak to, though? This speaks to...
I like garbage.
No, it speaks to our friendship.
Oh,
it
okay.
speaks to how we can have so many commonalities in some ways. And also there's so much room for difference as well. I think that's a really fun thing that we're learning about ourselves right now.
I think we should have a slumber party and get down to some seasons of Salt Lake City. It's the best one.
Okay.
I haven't seen the others, but I'm calling it the best one.
All right. So we are moving on to our question of the week, which is about friendships.
Hey, Emily and Andy, I'm wondering if you can say more about how we can keep or make friends as an adult.
All right, friends, adult friendships. We're adult friends.
We became friends.
We are adults who are friends, and
Adults.
also
Yes.
we became
We
friends.
became friends I did not meet you until I didn't meet you and we started becoming friends until I was 30 years old.
Yes, in fact, I think it was your 30th. This is my first memory of you. Is you were walking in to an office building and you had balloons that somebody had given you for your birthday, and it said that you were 30, and I was like, oh, 30. That blows my mind. 30 sounded
Yes.
very mature.
Yes, because you're younger than me.
Not by much, but I was fresh out of college.
Yeah.
And 30 was like, whoa, man, that is
What is that going to be
heavy.
like?
What's that going to be like?
Yes.
And now that is distantly in my rearview mirror.
Right. It is such an interesting. So we worked together.
Yes.
And that's how we met. We both had fully formed friendship circles, fully formed social circles that had been well established. And then we met. And
then
so
we met.
sometimes it's even a little bit difficult to place you not in some of those.
Oh, that's sweet. Like
Circles
before
prior-
30,
Yeah,
you think
yeah.
of me as being in your 20s.
Sure.
Yeah, you can picture me. I photoshopped myself and put into any various snapshots of your life before we met.
Right. Because there has been such a substantial friendship
Yeah.
over the years that has been so developmental and shaping me. So sometimes it's hard to compartmentalize those two.
But I only remember because of the balloons. So thank whoever got those balloons for you. So I did a little research for this episode.
Okay, tell us.
And by research, I mean I made a poll on Instagram. Okay. Very top tier, academic, professional. It met all the standards.
Peer reviewed.
Peer reviewed, yep. And so I did a question. I did 2 questions. And the first one was, how do you make friends as an adult? And spoiler alert, multiple people said it's really hard.
It is. It's really difficult because life moves in seasons. And so, when you are in college, for example, it's sort of making friends is built in to the season itself. Your social rhythms look different. Your living arrangements maybe even look different. I mean, I lived on campus, and so I was in a dorm, and there were so many people that you could just go say hi to, go get a coffee with. It was just right there and at your fingertips. You move into a different season of life. Well, now that doesn't happen, and now I'm finding myself really lonely.
Yeah.
In fact, there are some statistics on loneliness that recently have come out. The Surgeon General, I think, even named it a public health crisis, that there are so many of us as adults that are finding it just really difficult to be able to cultivate and keep meaningful friendships.
Yeah. If you're feeling that way, that was genuinely the response I got from a lot of people. And I made sure to specify after college because it's sort of built into your college experience.
Right.
And that's why college is so wonderful and amazing. And then you get out into the real world and it's like, oh, what am I supposed to do?
Yeah, I have all these responsibilities that I'm
Yeah.
supposed to be juggling and taking care. Where is there time for friendships? How do I keep up with that?
Yeah, so there were some common answers. Work was a common answer. We met at work. I had somebody wrote, no new net friends in the wild. So we're not just making friends in the wild, we're making them at work. And then the other really common one was if you are a parent, you've made friends through your kids' activities, maybe your kids' sports teams. I know this is very true for me. I was deeply lonely when my kids were little. Which is another thing that happens is like you stay home with young kids, or even if you're working with young kids, it's just all consuming. And that's when I joined MOPS. I very reluctantly joined MOPS, and I am still really good friends with the women I made at MOPS. So kids activities, school, and then the third most common was church. serving in church together. So having some kind of place
Some
outside,
kind of third place.
some kind of third place, because unfortunately you're probably not living in a dorm anymore.
Right.
And if you are, maybe we should talk about that. But you have to find your friends somewhere. And those were sort of the common answers of what people said. But even if you're seeing people at work and other parents on the playground or whatever, that's not the same as making a friend.
Yes.
So what do you do about that?
Yes. Well, and this is one of those episodes where we're probably going to draw a lot from our personal experience, less than the therapeutic world, because one of the areas that we connected with first was our shared love of television. We both joke,
Which is so funny
that
because I
we
do
were
not remember
raised
this.
by TV,
It's so true.
and
I'm the fourth kid. Nobody was paying attention to me by the time I came around. All right. If you're a fourth or younger, you're watching anything.
And I remember I was in something in passing. You mentioned that you really liked the show Roseanne, and it's stuck out to me because I thought, oh, I really like the show Roseanne. I think I want to go talk to her about that. Like I want to just.
That is
here's a
so
kindred spirit.
funny. I was
Just
not
have some
allowed
conversation.
to watch Roseanne. That was like our big no-no show.
Yeah,
And so I found it in my 20s and was like, this is great. It holds up, by the way. It is
does.
funny and it holds up.
And I say I liked Roseanne because that was where I grew up. So again,
So you're saying you meet a group of adults and you say, do you like Roseanne?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
what are your thoughts?
What are your thoughts?
Shared interest.
Shared interest.
is a great place to start. What do I like to do? Now, here's where we're going to bring a little bit of the therapeutic world in. Sometimes that question is easier said than done.
Yeah.
Sometimes I don't even have the margin to be able to say, I don't know. I don't even know what I like. I've got all of these responsibilities around me. I have all of these people who are clamoring for something from me, to your statement of being a mom with young kids.
Yeah.
I have all these expectations at my job. Emily, I don't have time to even barely eat lunch. You're telling me to stop and consider, oh, well, what do I like to do? Sometimes that is just a challenge. If I'm able to open up some space there, then that can sometimes be a way to just find a beginning connector like we did with TV and then start
TV.
to build from there.
Build from there. So you find things that you already like to do. You find a shared interest, and then you can invite somebody to join you.
Yes.
And I think that is the big thing. I know I have felt this way so often, is putting myself out there is very scary and sometimes results in rejection. But more often than not results in a lot of good friendships and relationships and fun.
Yeah, because we're talking about vulnerability.
Yeah.
And vulnerability always comes along with a little bit of a risk. I don't know if I invite this person to come with me, like you said.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're going to say yes or no. And then what do I start believing about myself? And then what do I do out of that? Do I say, well, I'm not going to try to invite anybody again because that was just too painful of an experience? Do I say, okay, well, they weren't able to this time. Maybe I'll invite them to something else. Do I continue to keep my eyes open for additional shared interest with other people? It is a way that, again, our humanity comes fully into view, because even in beginning a friendship, all of those insecurities and possible places where I could feel hurt can kind of come to the surface.
Yeah, and I think sometimes another way that we get burned in friendships, we're really burning ourselves in this one, is sort of like the expectation of what friendships should look like, rather. And it may be the expectation of how many friends I should have, or the expectations of how often we should see each other. And maybe that looks different than the other person, the expectation of how okay, what kind of friendship is this? Is this one where we're getting really vulnerable and talking about things? Or is this one where we're just sort of keeping it really surface and, oh no, I've shot my mouth off. This is usually what happens to me. I've said too much and I've now alienated you, person sitting across from me at the table. So sort of, can you speak into the expectations we have sometimes around friendships?
One of the things that I like to bring in, even in my work with clients, is something that are called friendship rings or friendship circles. There's lots of different kind of models for this, but basically it's letting you just categorize, and you might even put this down on paper. Sometimes that can be a really eye-opening exercise, but just to have an inner ring, a second ring, and a third ring. And what it allows us to do is it allows us to notice, okay, there are spaces in my life for lots of different types of friendships, and they don't all have to look the same. They don't all have to sit in the same role, and therefore, they don't all have to have the same expectation. Like my inner circle would be people that I am most vulnerable with. Those are people that I'm going to feel safer being, getting a little deeper. Some of those areas where I'm wanting to keep more protected. Those might also be people that I see the most. I'm just spending the most time with them. Research tells us truly we only have and need a few people in our inner rings, maybe between 2 and 4, depending on your level of comfortability with that. So not everybody is going to fit in the innermost circle, and not everybody needs to be in the innermost circle. It doesn't mean that friendships that are on my second and third rings aren't important. It just means that they look different, they sit in a different role in my life. For example, if I'm an extrovert, I'm going to have a really filled out third ring.
I like a thick third ring, personally.
We're both extroverts. So yes, I'm going to have a very robust amount of people on my third ring. I'm not sharing my deepest, darkest secrets with all those people.
Sometimes I do.
Well, okay, there's your exercise to, again, this is the part of what we do in this podcast is learning about ourselves, connecting
It's usually
to
on
self.
accident. But your point is the third ring is not people that you're truly getting vulnerable
Probably
with.
not.
Yeah.
It might also be somebody that I only see once a year. I still want to keep them in my life.
Yeah.
But if I'm able to say, okay, that's a third ring friend, well, that's going to help to free up some of the guilt maybe that I might have. Oh, I'm not keeping up with this person as much. Well, there's different expectations for different levels of friendships. So sometimes even just letting myself sit down with that and organize it in that way can be helpful.
So if we've got sort of, you said to write it down, what if somebody saw it? It would be like your MySpace top 8.
Oh,
do you remember?
Boy, do we miss MySpace.
I know. I'm really dating myself. If you're Gen Z, you don't know what that means. You can come find me later. But so you've got your different sort of rings of closeness with people. What about your different seasons of friendship?
Different seasons. Moving through seasons.
Yeah.
Again, we can draw from our own personal friendship. So our friendship looked different when you and I lived 10 minutes apart. There was a season of friendship where we lived really close, and our rhythm of interaction looked one way during that season. Our friendship looked a different way when we moved into a season where you moved and had kids. And so our rhythms started to look different. Our ways that we would schedule time together started to look different. We learned a lot about ourselves and our friendship in the level of rigidity or flexibility in our friendship.
So having that type of flexibility is what's going to sort of weather the different
seasons. We moved into another season when I started grad school.
Yeah.
Because my rhythm now looked different. And so part of what we're also naming when it comes to the maintaining relationships is, again, just sort of bringing some compassionate awareness to friendships are going to move through seasons. It's going to happen for every friendship, and that's okay. It's how am I moving through that season? How flexible or rigid am I in that season? And if I'm finding, well, I seem to, whenever I have a friend who moves into a different relational status or moves to a different geographic area, things really start to feel unsafe for me or insecure for me. That, again, part of what we're doing in this podcast is creating a learning community where we can ask those questions to connect more to self. I wonder what's going on for me there.
Yeah. Well, you sort of reference maintaining friendship because it's very connected. Meeting friends and getting to know friends, you have to be able to maintain friendships or you're not going to have adult friendships. So my second scientific question that I asked the internet community was, how do you maintain your friendships as an adult? And basically all the answers, I'm going to give you some examples because there were some good ones, but basically all the answers point to one thing. And that is being intentional.
Being intentional.
And that's something that we love to say, but we don't always find ourselves being able to do. But I thought there were some really good answers on here, so I'm going to read some of the ones that people shared.
Right.
Somebody wrote, I reach out, people really appreciate it. Sometimes just texting, hey, I've been thinking about you. Hey, you're on my mind. Even if it's not the I have the space to get together, but you are someone important to me, so I'm letting you know I'm thinking about you. Somebody said, put yourself out there. Somebody wrote Voxer. I don't know if you're familiar with the app Voxer. My personal favorite, and this is true for my life, is Marco Polo.
Yes.
Could you sponsor the podcast, Marco Polo? Because the hours and hours I spend, and if you don't know what Marco Polo is, it's an app where you can sort of leave messages, video messages for your friends. And somebody got me on it years ago, and this is how I stay close with my college girlfriends. You and I talk on Marco Polo multiple times a week. I have a couple of good friends who I'm always Marco Polo. If my friend just moved away, we've been Marco Poloing. And it's a way that you can kind of stay in the details of somebody. I know some people hate this app. Some people don't like it. I love it. I save them up and I listen to them when I'm cleaning or taking a walk or driving or whatever by myself. And it's just a way that you can get a little more into what's happening in somebody's lives, in the details of their life, rather than the big picture of like, oh, well, we don't, my college girlfriends, we don't see each other that often.
Right.
So I love knowing what's going on with their kids, what's going on with their marriages, all that kind of stuff. So Marco Polo, if you haven't tried it, maybe give it a try.
Give it a go.
I love Marco Polo. Give it a go. This was my favorite response, was somebody said, to text a friend and say, hey, I have something I need to return. It's far away. Do you want to come with me? Just the simplicity of like, do you want to run an errand with me? I love running errands with other people because errands are inherently boring.
They are.
And if you can bring a friend along with you.
You're doing it anyway.
You're doing it anyways. And I'll sit in your waiting room with you. And then maybe sometime you'll return the favor and come wait with me somewhere else. So those were a couple that I really liked. But the sort of the overarching thing is being intentional. And if we all kind of know that, what if it's not happening for me?
Yeah, because this is a place, again, where we want this podcast to sit. I know as a therapist, our deepest longing is not for more content. So we're not going to be as much about, hey, here are the top 10 ways that you could try to make a new friend. There are plenty of other places that you can go and get that content. We know that our deepest longing is for more connection. And that's either connection to self in order to connect more to others or connection to God. So instead of, okay, well, I should be more intentional, we're saying, okay, what if we open up the curiosity and said, I wonder what's getting in the way of me being more intentional. I wonder what's going on there. One of the things that can happen, and this is so true for all of us, is just pace of life.
Okay. We're just too busy.
We are moving, the pace of life that exists in our world is, quite frankly, violence to our souls. It is so fast, and it is so easy to get caught up in the current and not even know why I'm putting things on my calendar. I just know that I have to. I don't even know why I'm doing one thing to the next. I just know that if I don't, everything's going to fall apart. If I stop spinning one of these plates, the whole thing is going to come crashing down. And so if I am finding myself really wanting to be more intentional in maintaining friendships or making friendships, that might be a great place to start. Connecting with myself around, what does my calendar look like lately? And what are my reasons for putting something on my calendar or not putting something on my calendar? And if I'm able to be just 1% more intentional in that self-reflective work, that could open up enough space to really provide some room for some meaningful connection with a friend.
Is there anything else you can think of that could potentially be getting in our way?
Yeah. I like to say also, we can only connect with other people so far as we have connected with ourselves. So if and again, this takes time and self-reflection. If I am only able to connect with myself to a certain level, that's all that's going to be available for other people to connect with. So let's look at our friendship rings again. If I sit down and I name everybody in my social circles and I realize, I have a lot of people on my third ring. I have very few on my second and first ring. I wonder if that's all people can connect to. Okay. I wonder if a shared love of television is all that people can connect to.
Doesn't get deeper than that.
Doesn't get much deeper than that. Again, that's an important friend to have in my life. It's also going to contribute to that sense of loneliness that I feel. Not only I'm feeling lonely because I'm unable to connect with somebody else, but there is an inherent sense of loneliness that comes from a disconnect from myself.
Okay.
And then on a bigger spiritual scale, definitely a disconnect from God. So it's the same way. I can only connect with God so far as I've connected with myself as well. So those are the two main ones that I think I see the most is pace of life, and just I haven't maybe had enough space to really get connected enough with myself in order to provide more areas for other people to connect with me too.
Is it way too big of a question for me to ask, how do I then connect with myself?
With myself.
If I do this exercise and I realize, my, rings are very small at the top, it's because I haven't really connected with myself and I can't connect with others.
Yeah.
Now what?
Well, one that can be this is a little bit of a risk.
Okay.
Because it could either bring up a lot of joy or it could bring up a lot of sadness.
Oh boy. Okay.
So you know what? Let's go ahead and toss it out there.
You share your shame show with them and you wait for their response.
Yes. It's asking yourself the question, what did I like to do as a kid?
Oh.
What did I like to do when I was a kid and I had free time? What did I gravitate towards?
So this is not for the purpose of friendship finding. This is just connecting to yourself.
Just connecting to yourself.
Ah.
What if I had free time, if I had downtime, what did I gravitate towards? Like for myself, it was reading, always.
Okay.
I always had a book in my hands. And okay, wonderful. Now I have a part of myself. I've discovered here's something that is very meaningful for me. I am able to, at all levels, I could connect with someone who has a shared love of reading. I can connect with someone who has a shared love of a certain genre of reading. Maybe it's spirituality, maybe it's personal development, maybe it's fiction. But as I'm able to name those things and enter into those conversations and enter into that relationship, if I'm able to recognize, oh yeah, this is coming from a place that's pretty deep within me. I have felt this for a long time. I'm going to naturally be more vulnerable. And I'm going to naturally allow that person to connect with something that's a little more vulnerable for me because it's been there for a long time.
And then you start a book club.
And then sure. And then you could start a book club. I mean, there's lots of different ways that we could go from there.
But you have to sort of, what I think I'm hearing you say is you have to get to that place in yourself before you can really put it out there, to be brave enough to put it out there for somebody to join you.
Yes.
And
Yes.
whether that be a book club or a hangout date or whatever, like you have to have some sense of that on your own first.
Yes. And I think also giving ourselves permission for those stages of friendship to occur.
Okay.
I may meet a new friend and we immediately have a lot of shared interest and I'm feeling really comfortable with this person. We're having, lots of great conversations and I want to get to know this person more and I want to hang out with this person more. Allowing those stages to kind of just happen slowly. Like you and I, when we first met, we did not immediately reach the level of friendship, inner circle friend that we have now after years and years. We started out as third circle friends.
Right.
And then as we continue to grow and as we continue to spend time together, well, then naturally that friendship started to move someplace different on our friendship circles. So I think being able to give ourselves permission that these things just take time to develop. And as long as I'm continuing to stay connected to myself and stay in that intentionality, those types of friendships are going to bloom out of that.
They're going to happen.
They're going to happen.
Happen naturally. And, maybe anxiously trying to rush them along is not really doing a service.
It could end up with a different result than we're hoping for.
Yeah.
For sure.
Well, we want, you to have rich friendships. We want to have rich friendships with each other, with other friends. And that sounds like it starts in us.
In us. It does. And that's also, again, why we wanted to create this podcast and this learning community. Because if you are joining us in listening to this podcast, all right, congratulations. You're practicing the self-reflection. You're practicing connecting to self just by the nature of joining in on this conversation with us.
Yeah.
And that's naturally going to allow you to connect more and more deeply and better with others and then ultimately with God.
So you're well on your way.
You're well on your way.
And listen, you already got 2 friends right here.
Yeah.
And we're telling you all kinds of things.
Sure.
Things we haven't told each other. We're already telling them to you. So it sounds like we're all level 1 besties. That's what I'm hearing, at least. Listen, we're so glad you joined us today. We're going to be talking more about these things and really whatever you want to talk about. So just to remind you, these are real questions we're getting from real people. We would love to hear more from you. Feel free to drop us a line on social media, ask a question in the show notes, reach out to us personally. And listen, if somebody says they want to hang out, you get out your calendar. I don't like when people say they want to hang out and they just talk about it. So you get out your calendar.
Be intentional.
Be intentional, but mostly be self-reflective.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And get out your calendar for next time because we'll see you there. Thanks.